Okay, everybody, we are here with Skylan Brooks and Delmar Washington. They are part of the new film that is going to be coming to VOD and digital on March 11th. It's called Outsiders. Gentlemen, how are you?
Very well. Good.
Good, good. Thank you for asking. How are you, Norman?
You know, I'm great. I'm great. I get to sit here and talk to you guys about this cool film and super excited about it. So
Awesome.
now, Skylan, you are the star of the film. Delmar, you directed, and let's get into the. Can you give us a sense of the film? Either one of you, can you break it down for us?
Delmar, you were the man who who brought us through.
Right. I mean, it was definitely a team effort, that's for sure, Skylar. So I
Without a
couldn't have done
doubt.
it without you. I mean, you're the star. But just to Norman, to get back to your question, I would say the sense of this film could happen to any one of us. It's really about an outsider who just had like this crazy outer world experience, and he's running, within 24 hours, 48 hours to try to clear his name.
Mhm.
So I always start off the question, I question people like, what would happen if you experience something that's outer worldly and you're trying to prove yourself to a community of people that may not believe you?
Mhm. And so the basic setup is that Skylan's character is accused of.
Yes. So the basics of this, Skyland's character is trying to basically um, uh, prove his innocence, of the mystery disappearance of his girlfriend, who happened to uh, get, I would say, abducted by these extraterrestrial creatures that no one in town actually believes in. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
So, and Skylan, can you tell me about your character in the film and kind of what he goes through?
Well, Jaylen is, he comes from a small family. He's kind of written off as aggressive to some, but he's actually really, in my mind, he's a protector. He's very protective of his family and his loved ones, and he kind of gets this indirect hate or disliking because he's passionate about that. But and when he comes to this new town, he's just kind of trying to settle in with his family and trying to fit in and just kind of stay out of the way, but also try and see what's going on around there. And he meets this girl, and they become an item. But for some reason, she's abducted. No one knows what's going on. He's like, "Hey, I'm just the new guy. Don't bring any trouble my way." And it turns into this fight for his fight or flight situation where he has to basically protect himself and protect his loved ones from any harm.
Excellent. That so I mean, yeah, the the storyline is definitely super compelling with a nice twist in it. Um, I don't want to give away things, but uh, Delmar, can you tell me how you ended up with this script and what made you just really grab onto it and want to direct?
Absolutely. Well, I started out before I came onto this project. I had another short film, a sci-fi film called Worlds from Home, about a father and son that I was taken out into the film festival circuit. And the producers of this film, they actually saw the short film and they reached out to me and they were like, "Hey, man, they make between 3 to 5 movies a year," and they called me and said, "We got 3 films fully funded, ready to go. We would love for you to read these films and let us know like which one that may gravitate towards you that you potentially could direct." So when I
Wow.
came across this film, it spoke volumes to me because I'm a father. My son is actually 16 years old, and at the time we were dealing with, this was kind of pre-COVID, but we were all of us was being bombarded with a lot of stories on our timeline with the barbecue Beckys of the world, seeing a lot of police brutality and the unrest, specifically how young Black men were being treated. And this film was pulling at my heartstrings because, you know, every day when my son goes out into this world, I pray for him, and I hope that he, you know, return home without any complications. So when I was reading this film, it had a lot of you know, a lot of personal attachment. I saw myself in this film as well, you know. So that was one of the main themes that the reason why I gravitated towards this movie. And another thing is it shows that for me, I feel like it you know, the whole outsider piece speaks volume to a lot of different communities. You know, there's a lot of people that are dealing with different situations that may not necessarily deal with, you know, just your color, but, you know, you may not have necessarily have connections within the community, or, you know, yes, you may look different from other people, or sometimes people may not understand you. And if you find yourself in a troubling situation, it's easy for folks to point the finger at you. You know what I mean? In this particular movie, I feel like the skin is the crime. You know, Jaylen plays Jaylen's character. You kind of you feel that, and you get a sense of that, and that's also a reflection of what was happening, or what's still happening in today's society. So having said all that, I take a page out of Nina Simone's you know, book. And I feel like, you know, sometimes, you know, as an artist, it is our duty to reflect the times. So that's one of the reasons why I chose to direct this movie.
And the same question for you, Skylan. When you read the script, kind of what really grabbed you and made you want to be a part of it?
When I read it for the first time, it actually stopped me a couple of points where I had to do some internal reading into my own self and my own conscious, and step back for a second and say, wow, this why did it hit me so much, was actually because I related to it in a way where it's like I am that young black teen, or that young boy who is, you know, not even necessarily trying to fit in, but just feels like the world kind of looks at a little bit judgmental in a way, where they have a preconceived notion of like where you're coming from or who you are, and based off of other things that have nothing to do with you. So I just related to that a lot, and it felt personal when um, it felt personal in a way where it was like, man, I feel like I can really add something to this character. Like I have something that I want to give to this film, or um, to this character personally, you know. So I just really related with him, and just understood the plight that he was going through.
What in particular, what scenes were there any that like really resonated with you?
I think it's just the overall scope of the situation, where it kind of just felt like it was, at some point it becomes like boy cry wolf, but you never really ever, you know, like made any other situations where you kind of put yourself in that spotlight of whether you're telling the truth or not. You know, it just kind of like, hey, like, I saw this and this is my experience, and for some reason people don't really validate it, or they don't necessarily think it's possible that it could happen to you. So that's where I realized, I was like, man, I've had a couple of those situations where, you know, society or whatever it was played a role in me not getting that validation, or that moment that I needed to kind of like even feel like I even need to even talk at all sometimes. Like I just sit back and don't say anything, and just let things play out.
Uh, I'm so jealous that you got to work with Taryn Manning. So she's so she's so cool. She's so
Yeah,
cool.
she's awesome.
It was
But
dope.
but this was your first feature, right, Delmar? What's this? Yeah.
Yes, it was my first feature.
So
Mhm.
how, I mean, were there any lessons, takeaways from your first feature? And Skylan, how was it working with Delmar on, we're gonna close out with this one, on his first feature?
Don't beat me up too bad, Skylan. Don't beat me up too bad. No, really, this film was fun. Like, you know, obviously we didn't have a lot of time to make it, but we made the best of it. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Like
Yeah.
this film for me, it has so many different elements. You know, it's the sci-fi piece, the thriller piece, you know, it may not necessarily be like your traditional horror, but it was very, you know, thrilling, and it's horrifying to, you know, when at least when I was directing, watching Skylan, you know, go through the motions and trying to, you know, find these pieces of the puzzle to just completely prove his innocence, you know what I mean, into this community. And it was hard. It pulled on my heartstrings at times as well, because, you know, when we were looking at the George Floyd case, and here's a guy who's completely innocent and his life was taken away, and, you know, Skylan and Taryn and Shane and the producers, we were having a lot of deep conversations around the past as well, with all the way back to Emmett Till, you know, when you're seeing these cases, and Trayvon Martin, you know, where he, you know, the defenders was trying to prove his innocence, and they brought up a rock, you know, a big rock, a boulder. It's like, hey, this man could have used this to, you know, against a gun, and it's like, it's unbelievable, you know, exactly, and it's unbelievable. And, you know, you're listening to these stories, and you these individuals, who, you know, there's a lot of Black young men are trying to prove their innocence, and their testimonies are coming across foreign. Like, their testimonies are coming across as though, like, they might as well be saying the creatures were there, you know what I mean? Because these experiences are so outer worldly, that you know, sometimes we may necessarily, as individuals, we need something of a higher power, a higher force to come save us out of these situations. But having said all of that, it was a great experience. You know, it was a roller coaster ride. It was a lot of challenges. It was a lot of challenges, lot of challenges. But Skylan was amazing. The cast was amazing. I was blessed. God put me in this position to work with, you know, some high level caliber individual people that were already deep in their careers, and I'm so grateful for them to give me the opportunity to be able to direct them with my, and you know, with my first feature film. So thank you, Skylan. I appreciate it.
Oh man, always, man. That was a pleasure.
And in a word, can you tell me how it was working with Delmar? Just one word. Sum it up. They're giving me a time warning.
Okay, maybe not one word, but I'll say this.
Okay.
I'm glad that I worked with Delmar Washington in my lifetime.
Oh, see.
Real talk.
Same here, Skylan.
Hey man, this film is special for a reason, man, and it stopped me when I read it. I read a lot of scripts, and I'm very selective personally when it comes to what I feel matters. And this one, with the right people, with the right production producers, everybody, beautiful. So I'm happy to be a part of this.
Awesome. Well, gentlemen, thank you for taking the time to talk to me about the project. And again, everybody, Outsiders hits theaters, VOD, and digital March 11th. Just go check it out, because it's a lot of fun. Cool movie. So, Skylan, Delmar, best of luck on this release, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you,
Norman. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Take care.